What is up, SubSummit? Thank you guys for being here. This is the app side of things. Apps, anybody? No? All right. We're talking about apps, and we're talking about how to build high-margin digital tech software using your community, creator,
Existing
followers,
brand,
existing brands, everything in between. I am Steve P. Young, founder of App Masters. We are the #1 app marketing channel and podcast all about apps. We have an app marketing agency where our mission is to be the most effective, most affordable agency out there. Talk a lot about SEO for the App Store, monetization stuff. And today we're going to talk to Josh, who's got a great app called Miracle Morning. If you haven't heard about the book, it's based off the book too. And so we're going to break it down. Josh, let's start. Because you and I have been creating apps for 10 years, thinking we have the greatest ideas, but then they flop. So it led you to Miracle Morning.
Yeah, so I've been building apps for, almost a decade now. And as somebody that loves building product, the hardest thing, once I have the product and people, my friends and family are like, this is amazing, this is genius, is how are you going to get it to market? Yeah. And then right when that happens, it's like, I'm like ready to move on to the next thing. And I've built so many different apps, and we would run ads, and we got lucky a few times with a couple different products. Sure. But ultimately, like, it didn't end up going the way I wanted it to. We had different softwares that we built that had dependencies on the carriers and the OEMs. So we built like integrated app technology for Verizon, AT&T. We needed to get the Apple, Samsung, LG, and all the OEMs to say yes, and then we needed to get the carriers to say yes, and that was just a hard business model, like really hard business model. And when I read the Miracle Morning book in 2017, the book said like, oh, you could wake up in the morning and you could do all these amazing things for yourself, and here are all these different apps and tools and ways that you can do it. You could choose your own adventure, and you could do it for as little or as long as you want. And for me, I was like, all right, I got to download all these apps and do all these things. And I found myself in the morning like using 3 different apps, and it was a little chaotic. So I came up with this idea of like, what would it look like to build an app that basically takes everything that you learned in the book and bring it to action and make it playable and interact and add interaction to it. And that's exactly what we did. And Miracle Morning already had 4 million books sold. They already had a movie. They had 500 podcast episodes. They had a community that was already asking for an app. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to use the tools of the Miracle Morning, which teaches you to visualize and to affirm and to journal in the morning. And I started visualizing me building the Miracle Morning app for Hal Elrod, and I started affirming that I was going to do that. I started journaling my ideas and all the things that I wanted to do, and 2 years later, I ended up having the conversation with Hal, and he thought apps were going to, I've gotten quotes for this before, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm like, Hal, I'll build a V1 for under $20K in three months. It will be profitable before the day it comes out. We'll do a pre-order. We'll sell it for $5. And not many people sell $5 apps in the App Store these days. It used to be a thing where you had to pay to then download an app. And we decided to do that because you could actually run a pre-order in the App Store and have people pre-download it. So while we were building it, we were gaining basically pre-downloads.
Were you able to set the price as a pre-order?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was $5, and the day we launched, we sold tens of, like, I think it was like 18,000 apps. Not even subscriptions. It's just apps. Yeah. And then we used that money to then build a subscription business.
That's awesome. So those are not technical on the app side of things. You can pretty much, to put an app in pre-order, you don't actually need a working build.
No.
So you just need to screenshot app icons, an app listing, and then just do the pre-order. As long as there's some beta so that Apple can improve it, you just need a very, very light version, because while it's in pre-order, you can actually continually update that build so that you can see the traction. If there is traction, go ahead and continue and finish up the build as well. But Josh, looking back on this now, the app's done very well for itself. Are there key components that you're looking for? Like, why Miracle Morning? Why this book? Or could it be any book that could be applied to this?
It's not necessarily any book, but I think in 2024, one of the biggest opportunities is if there's any book that's teaching you how to do something, and you can create an interactive digital experience based on those teachings, so you could actually take action. Because how many times do you go to a conference, you learn something, you read something, you watch something, somebody tells you to do something, your coach tells you to do something, but then you end up not taking action on it, and you have no accountability. So the app ends up becoming like your digital accountability partner in your pocket that can guide you to do the thing that these creators are teaching.
Okay.
Right? So it's like if one of the big opportunities for us was we wanted to make it easy for you to do the Miracle Morning. You read the book and it tells you all these different ways, and you kind of have to figure it out on your own. You got to download these apps, and you can, morning routine could go in any direction. There's thousands of ways that you could wake up and start your day, right? So we wanted to make it easy for people that we knew weren't really intentionally having a good experience in their morning. We're kind of just waking up and scrolling on social media and reading the news and taking care of the kids and driving to work. And we wanted to make it easy for people to read the book or watch the movie, get all juiced up about like, wow, if I do this, my life can be so much better. And then be able to just get into the app, press play, and take action, be guided through an experience, and be able to take all of the lessons and key ideas from the book and build out experiences. And our backlog is like endless because it's literally infinite of what we can do.
You mean the backlog for features?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's cool.
it's endless. And
By the way, should I wear these? Are these better?
It's nice.
Okay. I don't want to ruin my hair. All right. But you're not hearing anything different.
I hear like you speaking like a mouse.
Okay, good. I'll get closer. So I really like that strategy. Josh, you were utilizing an existing community. What I've been doing now is building apps based off of just market research, what people are looking for in the app space, and not leveraging like what my head and my brain says is a good idea, but literally what people
That was a good idea for you to put that on.
I don't know. I think I'd go without it. But literally what people are searching for instead. So beyond community, are there anything else that would help you or anybody else that wants to build an app that has a community, that has a brand? Hey, look for these key elements and components, and this will translate well into the app space.
Yeah, I mean, we have a community on Facebook, and now we're looking to bring our Facebook community of 350,000 people into the.
I see.
We wanted to be able to bring them from the Facebook community into our app, so we can control the whole experience and from like a brand equity standpoint, that's awesome. Like if we can get all of our community to come into the app, it also helps with retention. And what we're wanting to do now is create like daily nuggets of wisdom. So if you just came into the app, just similar to like how back in the day when you turn on the TV and you watch the Good Morning America show, or some good day, good morning show, like. The reason why people do that is because it gives them something that makes them feel good, or gives them a new piece of wisdom. They're learning something new, and we want to use. We're building something right now where we have like a daily dose of wisdom, where Hal and myself and a couple other characters are going to be recording 30-second videos, and it's just about like what's one piece of wisdom that we can give them, and sign off with like in a friendly way. It's like we want to be like their digital friend. So it's like you open up the app in the morning, it's like that when you open up this app, there's going to be someone that offers wisdom to you that feels like a friend. And I think that that's a huge opportunity for brands to be able to have like daily doses of wisdom that bring people in. It's a notification. You have a new video. You have a new video message from Hal. You have a new video message from Steve. And we see that on Instagram. We see that on Facebook. If you go live on Instagram, the chances of me seeing that you go live or that you post something is not as is not as high as if you're a brand that has an app that's controlling the notifications and using text and using email and using in-app inbox features to be able to interact with people.
I like it. And I think with apps, it's so difficult to get people into apps. I know. And so I like the fact that it's Miracle Morning. It's a morning routine.
Yeah.
When you wake up, the trigger is, I'm up. Let me check out the Miracle Morning routine and kind of go through that. Because I think that's the hardest part,
Yep.
especially if you got an entertainment type of app, is what is the trigger that's going to get me to open up the app?
Yep. So there's a few things that we've been working on with that, and one of them is ending the day and starting the day. So now we just added Miracle Evening. So now it's the last app that you use at night, and it's the first app that you use in the morning.
Now, did users ask for this, or you're just like, this would be a great idea?
So Hal released a new version of the book back in December, and one of the new chapters of the book was the Miracle Evening. So the book upgraded, so the app upgrades with all the new teachings of the book. So it fit really nicely with that.
Anything from like just a monetization perspective that you can share that's worked out well for you?
Yeah, I mean, as far as what?
I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I was trying to get you there. But one of the things that works well for the app space is during the onboarding experience to have a paywall.
Yeah.
And it's counterintuitive to everything else that you might have seen. Get them, win your customers over, then try to sell them. But in the app space, actually, when they're going through that first-time user experience is when you should try to hit them with their pricing page. That's when most people convert. So, sorry, I was trying to get you to go there.
We know that.
Okay.
Yes. This is what Steve talks about a lot. And data shows that like 80% of people that download apps don't even come back the next day.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a huge percentage of people that don't even make it to the home screen to see all the things that you've built. So it's like we like to say that the onboarding is your number one feature because that's what people end up seeing the most. So we're definitely focused on having an amazing experience that helps sell the value of Miracle Morning. We're very fortunate that they are higher intent because 80% of our downloads come from people that have watched the movie, listened to the podcast, or read the book. So that certainly does help.
I like it. One thing I want to transition into is you launch as a paid app, you sort of validated the idea that people are willing to download and pay for an app. How was that transition to being more of a subscription app? What did that look like? Any barriers, any negative feedback that you got from customers? Because they technically just paid you $5. Now you're asking them to pay a bit more to stay on the subscription.
Yeah, so the way that we decided to do it was the $5 app that you paid for became free. So the thing that you paid for was now the free features of the Miracle Morning app. So everything, when we released the subscription, everything that was part of the subscription was something that you didn't have. So I think that helped. I'm sure there were some people that are like, I already paid. It's very non-traditional to like pay for a $5 app. But at the same time, I think it's really important that if you are selling a $5 app, you look at all the apps that you have to pay for to then download. And the mindset is like these app companies aren't actually upgrading that experience. It's like they could just make an app and maybe just maintain it because you're not subscribing to anything. So it's like you don't necessarily need to be adding more value because they're not paying for more value. So a lot of the apps that we see for paid aren't necessarily upgrading themselves as much. So we wanted to really add a massive upgrade to the app, which would allow people to, like the first version of the app was like do a 30-day challenge and check it off and track it and have an accountability from the community to make sure that you did the thing that you said that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
When we transitioned from a $5 app to a subscription app, we decided to make playable content that you could just wake up, put headphones on, and then just be guided through a morning experience where you don't even have to think about it. It's the first thing that you're doing in the morning, and after 10 minutes, you're like, wow, I feel so much more energy, and I feel like I'm going to have a productive day, and that I understand what my intentions are, and I feel more grateful, and I'm like ready to do all the other morning activities like taking care of the kids and making breakfast and going to school and driving to work and everything like that. So
I know one of the past guests I had on, she worked with influencers to build out a social media planner calendar app. And it was a private Facebook group where she got a lot of beta users, like hundreds. And when she launched as a paid app, she made $10,000 within the first week.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And she was like, look, they told me what to build. So did the Miracle Morning community tell you what to build in that first version?
So that's a great question. So in perfect segue, because
I'm a pro. Thank you.
what we ended up doing was, because we knew that so many people in the community wanted us to build an app, we said, tell us what you love. We're launching a new app, and we're launching a beta program. And if you tell us what you love and appreciate about the Miracle Morning and how it's made an impact on your life via video, you submit a video.
Wow.
We will enter you into the beta group so you could be the first to experience it and help us create the future of the Miracle Morning app. One email, within 24 hours, we had 400 video submissions and we had 400 beta testers. So, and these were our super fans. These were people that were, comfortable enough to get on video and share their experience, which was already an amazing filter of like, these are the type of people that we want to be in our beta test. And it just worked really well.
Can I ask how big the email list was?
It was 500,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, 400 is a good amount of people.
Yeah, well, the video was the filter.
Right, no, I know. You don't even care what the video content
If we just said, hey, you want to be a part of the beta test, we would have got 30, 40,000 beta testers, and Apple wouldn't allow that.
So you made it harder for people to say yes.
Yeah.
Just to see how much they wanted it.
Yeah, because we started a Slack community for the beta testers, and we would have Zoom calls and everything, and we wanted beta testers that were willing to get on video on Zoom and interact with us, and nurture the community, bring together a community of people that are helping us crowdsource what to bring, how we can help them, because these are people that already had existing Miracle Morning routines. These were people that were either already using apps or doing it outside of the app or a hybrid or both. And it was really interesting for us to understand what would get them to use an app if they've been doing the Miracle Morning for 1,000+ days.
Yeah.
So
one thing I want to transition to as well is, I'll be talking about this tomorrow in my talk, but we found that 3 plans tend to convert the best. So typically having a weekly, monthly, and yearly, those are the obvious ones. Monthly, 3-month, yearly tend to convert the best. Yeah. And I know yearly is doing really well for you, but yearly on Android and yearly on iOS is a little bit different too, right?
So different, yeah. We do 2 plans, by the way. So we do an annual and a monthly. Weekly's is a good plan. However, the people that end up paying for the weeklies are the people that are the ones that don't end up using the app. And in 2024, it's really important to share that if you want to be successful in this business, it's really about getting them to use your app. The days of getting them to subscribe to something and not use it is not workable anymore. And it definitely lasts. It gets to you can make money, but it's not necessarily sustainable. And I like to build products that I want people to use, and that's actually what keeps me up at night. Is like how to, it's like you get 100 people to read the book today, and 100 people download the app, and only 20 people end up starting a trial. Like that's what keeps me up at night. It's like how to get the people to start the trial, because I want them to start the trial because I want them to do the thing that I know is going to help them live a better life. And we just added an onboarding question on a scale of 1 to 5. How is your morning routine? And the number one response is number 1, which is non-existent. Number 2 is it's not good, and number 3 is it's average. So I know that these people that are downloading the app, that are reading the books, really need our help, and a weekly subscription doesn't necessarily fit our brand. It might be something that we would try, but I don't think so.
We've seen good results with weekly on the photo videos side
Yeah.
of things. Sometimes it has a higher LTV.
It works-
Even the yearly.
I think it works well. Weeklies work well for utilities.
Yeah.
In the sense it's like I'm downloading the app to do this thing, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be using this long term. So I think it works well for that. As far as iPhone and Android and conversion, it's completely different. I think we're seeing like half for Android as far as the amount of people that sign up for a trial, and then sometimes even less than that, to the point where we have tried lowering the price for Android versus iPhone, which is, if community members start speaking out, it's not necessarily the best the best thing, but like
Blame me.
but like ultimately, like if it ends up getting them to buy the thing and they end up using the thing and it ends up helping them, that's what we're in the game of doing, right?
Looking back, would you still have an Android version?
Yeah, we built it in a framework that allows us to build both. So we didn't build native. So it really isn't too much work for us to have Android, and because the Miracle Morning book's been translated into 40 different languages and read in over 100 countries, we knew that we had an international audience. I mean, we have people downloading the app in over 80 countries. So we had to go Android because, we live in, we just heard this last talk. How many of you have Android?
Yeah.
But like, here in America, it's like split. But outside of America, there's certain countries that are only using Android. So
I know Android, if you want the reach, go Android, but if you want the money, go iOS. And some apps don't have an Android version and do pretty well.
Yeah.
Because Android just doesn't convert as well as iOS.
It also gets me thinking about, trying to understand different cultures and what their buying habits are. So what we're now starting to do is I don't think I've told you this, we're now starting to survey why they hit the X.
Oh, so X on the paywall.
Yeah, why they hit the X on the paywall, why they're not starting the 7-day trial. We're now starting to survey and understand why. Is it because it's not localized? Is it because it's too expensive? Is it because you don't know what it does? And we're trying to understand that. And one of the things I learned at MAU was potentially in certain markets where they don't pay for subscriptions. Mm-hmm. It's like give it to them for free and run ads, or try to find a completely different business model for different markets, which is interesting and something that we potentially want to explore because.
One app I just saw, and it's gonna go on our YouTube channel soon, is an app, Camera Plus, if you guys want to check it out, literally has banner ads during their onboarding experience. And I was like, is this brilliant or crazy? And so I can see some dirty looks, but actually when I shared this on social media, the people said it actually does work, that their ad revenue increased. Now, I think it's a little bit too aggressive personally, but the numbers say that their ad revenue went up when they showed, yes, right on the very first screen. And even, check it out, it's a pretty cool flow because they'll have onboarding screens, the paywall, you hit X on that. They have another screen where they're engaging with you. And we have seen that engaging with your users, just like you're doing by what's your morning routine, does increase conversions. On those pages, they're even showing bigger ads on there. It's pretty crazy. I think it's an Android play. Personally, I would do it on Android, but I don't know about iOS on that one.
And if we're doing it for a specific market rather than them just being random ads, I would actually want to find somebody to sponsor those ads, right? A specific brand for that market, whether if it's Brazil, I would find 2 or 3 brands to be the ads for the app rather than putting an ad network in that's just random and isn't necessarily cohesive with the experience of the app. Like actually, if you're going to run ads, actually add value and bring on brands that you love and that you support to show to these people. So
great. We do have questions. You have a question, but John, you got anything for us?
I have a lot. I think the concept you've really been, pushing here around building routines. How did you kind of go about? Because for your, this book where the whole concept of it is building routines.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm kind of wondering, for our product, we do movie and TV reviews for parents, and we have a lot of content to really teach parents about, what's in Snapchat, what's in TikTok, what are dangerous things for parents. Do you have any general advice on how we can kind of do exploration into
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, my favorite thing is to get them to put the app on their home screen. That's something that we're working on right now. It's like you got to have like that beachfront condo on the home screen because it's like if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
We do like the
Um,
widgets, the iOS widgets.
well, so we talk about this a lot internally that a widget is a minimum of 4 apps that you have to remove from your home screen. And then it's 4 apps, or the next size widget is 8 apps. So we're starting with, can we get them to put the app on the home screen? And if they can do that, well, then we can upgrade them to a widget if we know that they do that. And one of the things that we're doing, actually, I'm not going to share that.
I was gonna say
I wanted to, but too soon. Not yet.
you gotta pay for that. Yeah. Were you gonna say how you get users to move the app onto the home screen? Is that what?
There's some strategies on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it's not recorded, John. But I will say is like, I mean, look, we have movie nights. My family's here, but maybe Friday nights, Thursday nights. Like, hey,
Saturday night is the big ritual.
There you go.
Movie night.
Yeah.
So if we can kind of build something around that, that seems actually doable. I think my challenge is I always have people at the organization say we need to build habits and gamify the app. Like it's kind of a buzzwordy thing. So I'm just trying to find a way that it's actually useful for users, and we're not like trying to force a habit onto them. It's actually built around what they're doing.
I think it's, with AI, I think there's a huge opportunity because ultimately, it's all about asking questions now, right? There's an app interface, but there's also like having the app and integrating the app with Siri and being able to ask Siri the question for that app that allows you to go into that app and get that answer, right? Because it's ultimately you're trying to train the behavior of like, if I'm looking to figure out what movie to watch with my family, I want to use this app to help me. And then once I watch this movie and then I provide feedback on my experience with this movie and allowing the mom, dad, and the kids to each give their own review, that then trains the algorithm, which then could provide an email newsletter to tell the, to tell the mom or dad, hey, here are the suggested movies for next Saturday, or even doing like a calendar integration where you accept the calendar permission, and now it's like movie night is now part of the calendar, and then you can have the location in the calendar event be a deep link that brings them into the app.
And that would integrate with the native iOS calendar.
Yeah.
yep, could do that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So there's, I mean, we can certainly talk after this, but the ideas are infinite of what's possible, and I think that there's a good use case for that.
I think you have a great trigger, right? Like it's, hey, it's movie night.
Yeah.
So you have that, and then I think it's just the reward that builds the habit. I mean, there's obviously great books about this, like Hooked, and then I like The Power of Habit too. So those are great books, but those you have that initial trigger, and I think just ultimately figuring out what they want to do and then giving them reward. One of the apps, I give you an example, but I saw really good results with this. People are tweeting this out, but it's called Zero, intermittent fasting. I've been using this for years, but they used to send me a weekly digest being like, hey, Steve, you've fasted like 127 hours.
Yeah.
I am bragging here this week. And then it said, click to tweet this. And I went and followed that hashtag, and people were tweeting this. And obviously it makes me look good. Yeah. And so like, what can you do to make your customers look good so that it becomes that perpetual habit loop? You got the trigger, which is the hardest part, John, and then it's just building out the rest, and you'll figure that part out.
Yeah, and you look at like what Spotify is doing with like the end of the year review. It's like,
People are trying to replicate all of that.
right? Spotify's basically showing you all the data that they have about you at the end of the year, and it's amazing, and it's got the social sharing component, it's got the the virality component to it. It's fun, it's exciting, and it connects you with the artists. And I think that there's an opportunity, like Netflix shows you what movies and TV shows and things that you should watch based on what you've watched, but they're not showing you all the ones that you've watched and what you've said about those things, what you think about them, and what the score is for those movies. So I think something that would keep people coming back into the app and create loyalty would be being able to have the archives of everything that it is that you're watching and being able to see under the hood what the algorithm is doing. I think that it's okay in certain use cases that could be applicable to you guys to show how the algorithm's actually working for you and how you can help train that algorithm to help you find the right movies with the appropriate ratings and things.
All right. Anybody else have anything? That did. John, I like that too because I use this app called Just Watch. My wife and I will do.
Just watch, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Competitor, yeah.
I have no idea what to watch sometimes, and it's a way for me to say I've seen this because I have watched movies twice. I don't like to do that. I'm like, I've already seen this. I think I've already seen this. But anyways, it's a way for me to remember what I've watched, and then I go for it. Like when we're looking for a movie, because I like their like algorithm. Oh, you like this? I find a movie I like, and I look for like people also like this, and that could be a way for you to send an email or anything. Just be like, hey, you like this Inside Out too? You might also like these other older ones.
Yeah,
too.
and I don't know if this already exists, but like the social component of it could be amazing, right? It's like, who are all of your friends that watched this movie? What did they have to say about it? What did their kids have to say about it? Like, there's something really cool there. Okay. Yeah. Amazing.
All right, circling back to you, Josh. From since you've launched and knowing everything now, and since we've been doing this for so long, is there anything that you would change, or any big mistakes that you learned that got you to this point?
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
a great question. So if any of you are looking to build an app or currently building an app or in early stages, the one thing I'd recommend is to make sure that you understand that your data right away, that you're building the app and that you're building in all the events to actually understand what everybody is doing in your first version after the first day, after the first 3 days, after the first week. So the sooner you know how they're actually using the app, the sooner you could be making data-based decisions rather than like intuitive, heart-based decisions that we've been making for like the last
And wrong. Been wrong
the
on.
last year. What?
We've been wrong on.
No, and we've been wrong. You know, it's like sometimes it's just a feeling that I'm going to change this button or this text, and we're still, you know, year and a half into the subscription, we're still often asking ourselves questions and looking at the data and realizing that we didn't set up the events right to be able to properly answer these questions, to the point where the only way that we can make decisions is by our intuition and our heart, and or sometimes we'd be like, we can't release this yet because we need to add this event and let it run for a couple weeks so we can then answer this question so we can decide what to build.
Yeah.
So I would say analytics is very important. And then I would say the other one is hiring a marketing team. So we were an app that had an existing brand and community that was based on my business partner being on podcasts, speaking on stages, and we have a really high net promoter score. We have like a 68 NPS. So the community would just ripple the books and the movie to each other. And when we launched the app, we were able to rely on the existing community, the existing email list and social media and everything like that. And then we're now at a place where it's like, now we actually really need to do marketing. We haven't really done a whole lot of marketing. We've just been lucky that like the podcasts are landing, the speaking's landing. It was stuff that we were already doing for the book. So the app never really did any actual marketing. So we can just focus on creating a great product and focusing on the user experience. So I wish I would have hired a marketer like from day one.
Yeah.
To handle the customer lifecycle experience and to be able to start running ads. I mean, we already had hundreds of thousands of people on Facebook. We already had an email list. Like Apple could have helped, or Facebook, Meta already knows where the fish are, and we could have already had a lot of early on data running ads and doing those things.
I think so I do a lot of SEO for the App Store called ASO. And I think just having that just the basics done, like the foundation stuff. So if you know anything about SEO, you'll know a lot about ASO. Like having the right title, that's going to have the highest weight. So if you guys had that when you did your big launch to the 500,000 email subscribers, at least that gives you a little bit of push. And you don't need to like honestly hire anybody. You just need to know a little bit about the ASO basics to have it ready and rocking. And then from the event side of things, you know, like you said, the onboarding is that first feature. So we really look at the funnel from that onboarding. So where are people dropping off in which phase?
Install the paywall view, install to trial conversion, install,
Those are the numbers that we look at. So like install or technically a first open to a paywall view is your number one metric because you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But so you want to get that close to 100% as possible. And sometimes I've seen this where we had one client where we flipped. So imagine he asked you to sign in through Apple and Google, social sign in, and then he showed the paywall. You can't exit out of either page, right? You just have to leave the app.
Yeah.
All we did was flipped it. We just showed the paywall and then asked you to sign in. His paywall views went up from 40 to 94%, and his sales went up 52%. That's what I mean. Like really look at where the drop off is. Because with a bigger client, we have seen, to your retention point, he didn't have his paywall during the onboarding, doing really well, and they've got organically 1 million downloads, 500 monthly active users, 5 million monthly active users. When they finally added the paywall to their onboarding, guess what happened? Their revenues went up, and so did their retention. So I feel like with subscription apps, I'd lean towards that a little bit more. But with subscription apps, people will pay attention, and then people will pay. And we have the numbers. I know it is one case study. I feel like it's a lot of users too, though.
Entirely. And there's actually another pro tip that came up for me that we completely missed out on, and I want to actually talk to you more offline about this.
Yeah, okay.
And that's getting ratings and reviews early on. Like, because we pre-sold the app, we had 18,000 people download the app, and we didn't do the pop-up that got them to write to where the stars come up and you press the star and then you could rate it. So like our ratings didn't really grow until like a year after. We weren't really focused on ratings, so like there was a huge opportunity for us to just get that huge boost in ratings much earlier on.
Yeah.
And I see so many apps that launch and don't focus on that, and then they have their big, they have their big campaign, they get their 10,000 downloads, and they missed out on all those opportunities to get people to write reviews, which helps you rank higher in the App Store, which helps give more credibility, and when you're not prompting people to write reviews, those that write reviews without being prompted aren't necessarily as good as you want them to be. So
you're pissed off.
Yeah. So we also saw that our rating wasn't as high as it was. It was like a 4.3, and as soon as we turned on the pop-up, it went to a 4.9 within a month. So
yeah, we have a case study where we added the default rating prompt right after people activated their trial. And we saw the average rating go from 4.5 to I think it was like 4.7 something range. Yeah. And then we had like 4x more ratings that in a month. Because they obviously showed intent. They're like, I like your app enough to start a trial. Would you mind rating it? And just showing that default prompt worked. Cool.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm now starting to see that it's actually relevant for this conversation that I wanted to talk to you about was I'm not on Android. I'm still seeing a climb with this methodology of just having it pop up. With iOS, I'm seeing it stuck. It's been stuck for like 2 months at like 3.2 thousand reviews or ratings. And I think it's because we're getting a lot of ratings, but they're not writing a lot of reviews. So Apple's like, all right, you keep getting ratings, but you're not getting reviews. So we're actually not going to give you your ratings. So I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, if you do the parameter, I think it's action. So you have the App Store link and you put a little question mark. All right, I'm going to get really geeky here. My wife's going to love this. All right. So you put a little parameter and it says like, I think it's action. I have the link.
Okay.
It's action equals and then write review. You can send an email blast with that link and it'll pop up the whole write a review thing. So as long as they have the app installed still, you can prompt them to easily write a review, and I have that link.
So
I could probably pull
counterbalance
up.
it with with email to get them to write a review.
Yeah, I think you know
We actually haven't even done that. Yeah.
in the app space, I think the underutilized channels are email.
Yeah.
You can see some really good results with email, and especially one client we had where we changed the subject line from the benefits of working out to our most popular workouts. We 1.8x his workout rate, and this was for those who activated a trial, but we didn't want them to cancel. They're in the 7-day window, and so we wanted them to work out once because the client felt like, hey, if they can work out once, they're going to be with us forever. And I'll give you guys the exact link. I'm going to pull it up. Anything I missed?
Did you create a contest for the review? Have you ever seen anybody create a contest for the reviews where it's like if you write a review, the top 10 best reviews will win something? Or?
I think you can, but Apple doesn't want you to incentivize reviews. So you got to be careful with that.
But
You got
if
to
you're
be
sending an
hush-hush.
email.
Yeah, you should be okay. Hopefully they're not on the email.
Yeah.
John, any last things you want to talk about before we say goodbye?
Yeah, one general question. So I think for us, it's really hard to get users to actually sign in and create an account. So one thing we're trying to do is to try to get them to add their kid's age during onboarding,
Yeah.
but not have that tied to an account. So do you guys have any best practices on how to store data locally on device so you can kind of get people to set up a kind of mini profile without having to create an account first?
Yeah, so the Miracle Morning app was the first version of the app that was $5 was a local app. We didn't even have a back end. Yeah, so we were saving the data locally, and as soon as we released the back end, then it just uploaded to the back end, and their data was saved. So technically, if they got a new phone, they would have lost their data, but you could store it. You could store it locally, and they don't need to.
Were they signed into an account?
They will have their own unique ID, but eventually you'll still want them to create an account if you want to be able to communicate with them. But they can fully use an app and save their user data and to the device. But if they lose the device, they break the device, if they get a new phone, then they won't.
So you get people to set all that up locally on device and then get them to create an account.
Yeah, I mean, apps like Calm have an X on their login screen on their onboarding, and they'll let you log in afterwards. So.
Yeah. Calm's interesting because, John, I was saying, that paywall flipping sign in. Calm, after you activate a trial, you have to sign up. You cannot do anything else to access your premium content. So, because I always get pushback when I tell people, just flip it. Don't make them sign up. Just ask them later. And they're like, well, when you did that, and I get all this pushback, and I show them that Calm example. Okay, so the URL is just your App Store link, that little question mark if it's not already there, and then action equals write-review. Action equals write-review.
You'll text that to me?
I'll text that. All right, Josh, anything else I missed? Please say no.
Yeah,
It's got a minute
if
out.
anybody in the audience is looking to build an app or has an app or needs help with their app, I've spent the last 10 years building apps, and if there's anything that you want me to help you with so you don't make the same mistakes that I've made over the last 10 years, I'm happy to support.
Yeah, Josh is a great product and development guy, and we've done this for a very long time. And so check out Miracle Morning app, but then just check out Josh on LinkedIn. Yeah, as well. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it. I'll see you on the next chat.